Welcome to Reach the World ASAP. My name is Pastor Scott Griswold. I work for ASAP Ministries, which stands for Advocates for Southeast Asians and the Persecuted. Suppose you are a Buddhist lady in Cambodia. Maybe a stretch for some of you, but just suppose. Every day you carry some food and incense to place before a shrine that's dedicated to whatever spirits lived on your property before you built your house. As a good daughter whose father came from China, it's also very important to you to put food before the shrine dedicated to the ancestors. Whenever you can, you go to the temple to make merit. You are confident that the more good you do, the better chance you will have of a good future next life. Suppose those things are important to you and you have carefully taught them to your 5 children who have now grown up. Your name is Chi Sang. One day you go off to the capital city, Phnom Penh, to help your son and daughter find a job. You stay with relatives and it takes several weeks. When you get home, one of the first things the neighbor says is, "Che Sang, did you know your husband goes to the Seventh-day Adventist Church?" "What?" you say. "That's crazy. We've always been Buddhists, and we always will be." You hurry home and you find your husband. "What's this about going to a church? That's a foreigner's religion. We're Cambodians. Why should I have to hear about this from the neighbors? Why would you do this anyway?" Your husband calmly smiles. "When I was a boy, I heard the story of Jesus. I couldn't forget it. It is so special. Now I've decided to go back." You storm out. "Do what you want," you shout back. "I will never be a Christian. I'm not going to let our ancestors starve." You've heard that Christians don't offer food, incense, or anything before the shrines. That makes you really worried. What would happen to them? What would they do to you? Over the next few weeks and months, your husband invites you to church. He takes the 2 children that are still at home, and every time you refuse to go with him. You argue with him a lot, and it seems like home is always in some uproar with conflict. Your son is in another province, and he calls and says he wants to become a Christian too. But you tell him, if you love your mother, you won't do that. It's really not a good thing. And you push so hard that he gives up. One day your husband brings home a new Bible. "This one is for you, Chae-sung." "Wow, it's beautiful with red-tipped pages." You don't know if you should be mad or happy your husband is giving you a gift. Nobody in your family knows that you can't read or write, so you take it and you pretend to read it. For a long time, you've been sick, almost 8 years in fact. You feel so tired, chest pains that come and go. It's really been helping that your daughter's so sweet. She does her best to help you out. It seems like she's so different now that she's been going to church. Sometimes in the night, you ask her to tell you the Bible stories that she's been learning at church. It calms you so much. One day you realize you don't have enough money to buy rice for the family. It's never been like this before. Maybe it's all that money you've been spending on medicine. I bet I can get rice on credit from the seller, you think to yourself. Surely he'll lend it to me. And so you go down to the market and you ask him, and he refuses you. As you walk away, you can hear somebody calling. As you turn around, you realize the seller's bringing a big bag of rice to you. You're so surprised. Why on earth did he change his mind? Your daughter smiles up sweetly at you and says, "Mom, whenever you are sad, I pray to God to help you. I did that just now, and the man changed his mind." That really sinks into your mind, and you ponder it for a long time. But it's when your youngest boy begins to cry and act like he has a demon in him that you get really worried and start to wonder if there is truly a big God up there who could help you. The church members, they come, they surround you and your son. They pray earnestly and they stay a long time until finally he stops crying. Your precious son stops crying and he never has problems like that again. Yes, you finally begin to believe in God and go to church with your husband and your 2 children. When you first walk into the church, those chest pains come back hard. They're pounding on you. The church leader and his wife come close. Chi Sang, "Don't be afraid. The enemy doesn't want you here. Can we pray with you?" You nod your head, and soon everything is peaceful. Soon you notice that your home is peaceful too. The arguing and conflict is much less. Your home is a happy place. Husband, you say, "We don't need those shrines and idols anymore. Let's take them out. I know who the true God is. I want to study the Bible and be baptized. In time, you learn to read and write. You learn about clean and unclean meats, God's whole plan to help people be happy without anyone asking you to help, to start out and do something for those who are sick. You take the initiative. You learn how to use hot and cold water treatments to help people get well. You learn how to teach them how to live by God's plan. One day, you meet an old man who has terrible pain in his whole leg, and you decide to help him. Listen, friend, if you will trust in God, He will heal you. Will you pray with me? The man looks at you so surprised. I guess so. He does, and you pray, and his leg gets better. He starts studying the Bible, and he's baptized too. You can't believe how God is using you when you used to be so against Him. Later, you help another elderly man who has terrible pain. In fact, he's having a nervous breakdown. You try various treatments, but nothing seems to help. So while you're caring for him, his whole family comes around and watches. You think, I don't know if God is going to heal him, but I just have to tell them about you anyway. So you tell stories of Jesus healing sick people, and they listen carefully. When it looks like the elderly man is going to die, you tell him all about Jesus' death on the cross and how to be forgiven. You tell him about heaven and how Jesus will give it as a gift to anyone who repents and asks for God's help. It's hard to see him die, but you're confident that you will see him in heaven someday. To your great surprise, the whole family says that they want to learn about Jesus too. You're so excited when you get to watch them be baptized. And then there comes another surprise. The Cambodian Adventist Mission asks you to be a medical missionary. You, Chi Sang, who could not read or write, who said you'd never be a Christian. So now it's your privilege to share Jesus' love far and wide. It's been fun to put our feet in Chi Sang's shoes and walk through her conversion and delight in becoming God's servant. I hope you'll pray for her 3 other children who have not been willing to follow her as she follows Jesus. You can learn more about other medical missionaries in Southeast Asia at our website, asapministries.org. There's so many things that you can do to help God's work go forward. I hope you'll like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Now we're back in our own shoes, with our own story and our own opportunities. Will you believe that God can do great things through you? Will you determine to speak up, to pray with great faith for those who are around you? If you do, I know together we can reach the world ASAP.